All right, all right, all right. Welcome, welcome. Grandpa Hoppy here with the Retirement Chronicles. Today, I want to speak on something in retirement, my retirement journey. The heading for today is broke and retired. So I want to add on to that broke and retired. Fear not. I'm going to share scripture with you, 2 Timothy, excuse me, 2 Timothy 1:17. God does not give you the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. That kind of goes with our heading of our today is broken, retired. Fear not. We used to have a t-shirt that the youth would wear, and on the t-shirt it would say fear not, and that comes directly from 2 Timothy 1:17. So I want to emphasize that today as I talk about the fear of being broke when you retire. That was one of the obstacles that I had when I was trying to decide. And you don't want to give up that job where you get that extra check every week or every 2 weeks. Sometimes people get paid monthly. Give you just a few responses of Google searching. But strangely enough, there's a lot of people retired. The average net worth of a retired person is a whopping $45,000. That's not a very high net worth. It's actually a positive, which is good. It's better than having a negative net worth. But $45,000 net worth is not a tremendous amount of assets in your possession. So you say, how is that somebody can be retired and only own $45,000 worth of stuff? Another thing is retirees. The average 40% of retirees have when they retired or have zero savings. 40% of retired people have zero savings. That's pretty mind-boggling if you think of it. So with that being said, and I go back to the moment I retired, and you think that, well, am I going to be able to make it? Actually, with those numbers, the fear not in the scripture. I mean, who do you have your trust in, yourself or God? So I think about my great-granddaddy, and I knew my great-granddaddy. I think he died when I was probably around 12 years old, something around that time frame. I knew him, had been around him multiple times at Christmas and Thanksgiving, and he lived in Memphis. But he lived till he was 97 years old. I think about my wife's grandmother. I think she lived till she was 91 years old. And her dad just recently passed away. And I think he was 88 years old. I may be wrong on that. Or he's fixing to be 89. I believe that's right. I think about my own personal journey in the last 5 years. And you know, when I pulled that trigger to retire, my wife did have a job that she was not leaving, and that was some security that I knew I had. Some people are not in that position, but we own our houses. In my position, I had a pension with the company I worked for almost 40 years. Some people have Social Security. I'm not drawing Social Security. Don't plan on till I'm 67. But everybody, I actually do work a part-time job, and it's not a guaranteed thing. It comes and goes. The money comes and goes. I have gone as long as 6 months without receiving any money from doing this job. It's a storm restoration, so it's kind of seasonal with storms. But I do it on my pace and on my terms. So it's strictly a job that comes and goes. It's not something I depend on. But everybody in my life, well, everybody's story is different. But my life is fluid. It's not really planned. Everything is not planned out perfect. I want to emphasize that in retirement, remember that scripture. God does not give you the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and of sound mind. So with that being said, I guess what I'm trying to say is everybody's story is different, but let God lead you daily. Don't worry about tomorrow. Just be obedient. What you should worry is being obedient to God. And prayerfully, when you pray, is it time to retire? Trust in God. Don't trust on what you can see so much. Because, again, like I said, 40% of retirees have zero savings. And they make it work, evidently. I'm fortunate enough to where I didn't have that exact situation. But I want to emphasize that time is the most valuable asset. I can't emphasize that any more so. Time is the most valuable asset. And I go back to my story, my uncle, and I think I mentioned it on the second episode, and this is the third episode. My uncle spent his whole life working at, I believe it was Leaf Manufacturing. It was a bubblegum factory in Memphis, Tennessee. And he worked his whole life there, and he retired at 55, and he died before his 56th birthday. And so at least he got to enjoy 6 months of his retirement. So that's what I got today is broken, retired, fear not. Just be obedient to the Lord. From your former Senate candidate or your former coach or your former wrecker driver. Yes, I said wrecker driver. I want to end it on things that I used to do. I try to share 3 things different every time, and it'll probably take me 10 episodes to say all the things that I did, maybe more than 10 episodes. But former Senate candidate, former coach, former wrecker driver, farewell for today, because he lives, from the Retirement Chronicles.